Body Maintenance 101 today. We're going to be talking about and working on the patellar tendon that runs up over top of the patella, the kneecap, and connects down here on the tibia, on the long bone of the lower leg. A lot of times when you're doing heavy leg work, lots of squats, lots of lunges, the connective tissue within the thigh that runs up over top of the patella gets really fibrous and restricted, and it actually puts down a lot of pressure on the kneecap itself. It can put pressure back underneath of the kneecap, and it can put a lot of irritation on the very front of that tibia on the lower part of the upper part of the lower leg. So what we want to do is we want to be really, really aggressive, just as aggressive as we are in our weightlifting. We want to be just as aggressive in our maintenance of taking care of that soft tissue to make sure we have a lot of length as much as possible to that upper leg, so that it's not putting as much pressure here. Because if the connective tissue on the upper leg is getting restricted, it's going to pull together, and it's going to put a lot of tension on that kneecap and on that upper part of the lower leg. So we've got to be really aggressive with this. We're going to use a couple of different tools. We could use a roller, but again, we want to be as aggressive as possible. So this is a good starting point, but we don't necessarily want to go to this as our go-to for this area. We want to use things that are going to be a lot more aggressive, like the Battle Star, particularly with a small roller system on it. Use a Supernova and a lacrosse ball. The lower we go, and the smaller the ball and the implement gets, the more pinpoint pressure we can get into those problem spots and get them worked out so we can alleviate that knee pain. So we'll start off with a Battle Star first. This is going to be more of a global shear. We're going to get a nice pressure wave going through the connective tissue, and we want to work right down the middle of the thigh to start with, and you want to take it right up where the hip meets into the thigh, and then take it right down the middle of the leg. And you want to take your time in this one as much as you can. Nice, slow strokes. If you find a spot where it's restricted, you can put a little shear force on it and just kind of work the leg back and forth, side to side. When you get down closer to the knee, turn the leg out, get on the medial part of the thigh right here, and then get on the lateral part as well by turning the other direction. And you should spend at least a minute on the Battle Star working all around that tissue. That's going to get it primed up for what you're going to do next, which is going to be the Supernova. Now the Supernova, we're going to use this to add a much more pinpoint pressure right down the middle of the thigh. We want to get right on that rectus femoris, that muscle that runs right down from the hip, down the middle of the thigh, over top of that kneecap. And the Supernova is going to allow us to do that. So we're going to start right by the knee again, right on the top part. And we're going to go right down. And if you find a spot that's restricted, you're going to pin it down and then move that leg up and down. This is what we call attack and floss. You're going to attack that tissue down with the pressure of your body weight on that ball. And then when you move the leg up and down, it's like you're pulling the tissue out from underneath of it being pinned down, and it stretches it out. Move down a little bit further, a little higher up that leg, pin it down, and then work that knee. Do it again, pin it down, work that knee. And I'm going right down the middle of the thigh. And I'm just going to work it slowly until I get it right up in the top middle part of my thigh. And then I'm going to take that Supernova, and again, I'm going to hit that vastus medialis here on the inside, that little teardrop shaped muscle, and I'm going to kind of turn my leg out to the side a little bit, but I'm still going to be really aggressive with the amount of pressure I put down on that Supernova. After I get done with about a minute on the medial part, I'm going to take it over on the lateral aspect. Same thing, only now my leg's going to be turned in instead of turned out, and I'm going to be really aggressive on this area, again, for about a minute. So I'm spending at least 4 minutes now on one leg, but I'm going to get that tissue all nice and loose as I possibly can. Now for those individuals that are having a lot of knee pain that's coming right above the knee, right at the lower part of the thigh, we want to take it one step farther yet, and we're going to go on and use the lacrosse ball. Okay? In the lacrosse ball, we're going to focus that emphasis right above the knee, above that patellar, right on that lower part of the thigh. We're just going to work it all around that area with a lacrosse ball, basically using it the exact same way that we did with the Supernova. But now we've got a really nice tight pinpoint pressure. We can focus right in where it's hurting the most when we're doing squats and lunges and deadlifts and things like that. And again, when you're using the lacrosse ball, at least a minute, probably 2 minutes here to really focus in all on that area that's right above that kneecap. Once you've gone through that progression, if you wanted to start with a roller, start there. I would say start with a Battle Star with that small roller, go to the Supernova, If you're having pain above the knee, go to the lacrosse ball. We're talking 4 to 5, 6 minutes there minimal. After that, we're going to take it to the wall and we're going to go into our couch pose. And this is where the roller really comes into play here. We're going to bring that leg up onto the wall, slide the toe down the backside as much as you can, and get that knee as close to the wall and the floor as you can, and then bring yourself up. Use the roller for balance if you need it. If you don't need it, just put your hands on your thigh, and then push your cheeks right back into that heel. And you're trying to keep that foot as vertical as you possibly can the whole time. Drive back. Once the butt cheek is hitting into the heel, you squeeze your butt and push your pelvis forward. We're not going to be here for 10 or 15 seconds. 2 minutes. That's right, 2 full minutes. You should be able to get in this position. You should be able to hold this and work it and get it further and further and further and further back until your knee is pinned all the way into where the floor and the wall meet and your posture is nice and vertical. There is no better stretch to get the quads and to get the hip flexors than that couch position stretch right there on the wall. It's a necessity. You need to put that in at the end, but only after you've done your 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of rolling out. This is not a 1 or 2 minute sequence here. You're looking at least 10 minutes for one leg, and then repeat it on the other side if you're having knee pain on that one, because chances are, if one knee's starting to have pain, the other one's probably not too far behind because your body is relatively symmetrical, and you probably do a lot of double leg stuff, so you've got to work on both sides. So this is a 20-minute sequence, and you can really take care of that soft tissue and get it working as best as possible, so that when you go into your workout, it won't be hurting you.